Mulan, directed by Tony Bancroft and Bary Cook. So the movie starts out during the Han Dynasty, and the Huns are like, let's take over China, and they shimmy shame over the Great Wall, much to the Emperor's surprise, who's like, what the hell, man, I didn't get to finish my TV shows for this. You know how us old people like to watch our TV shows? Now you better get out there and settle all this Hun attacking China business, and I better have time to watch my shows. Meanwhile, our homegirl Fa Mulan gets up all late for her appointment with a prestigious matchmaker, because she was writing down some notes from SparkNotes.com all night. When Mulan finally enters the town, her mama is like, little girl, you looking more basic than Hillary Duff in a Starburst commercial. Now you better get your Angelina Jolie lips cleaned up before I make them look like Kylie Jenner's. And then they sing about how great it is to be a discouraged, suppressed young woman in the patriarchy, happy to be controlled by a man's every beck and call while never showing intelligence or their own thoughts and ideas. But it's the 3rd century, so that misogyny is too serious. And when Mulan sees the matchmaker, she fails horribly, proving her fear that she'll never bring her family honor. Back at the house, Mulan's father didn't get notified by the Facebook update and finds out that she didn't pass the sad way. After a sad song about identity, Mulan's father tried to cheer her up, but gets interrupted by a chief looking like a single ramen noodle with no teeth. He tells the townspeople about the decree from the emperor that one man from each family has to pick up their fighting sticks and go to war, which means that Mulan's old father, who has already served in the army, has to go again. And Mulan's like, not my daddy, you shrimp noodle, and she takes her father's sword and armor and goes off by herself to the camp, much to her family's surprise. So now it's up to the Croup and ancestors of the family to choose a guardian and bring her back safe. And a devoted guardian named Mushu is given the task to wake up the most powerful Dane Dizzle guardian, the Great Stone Dragon, which he mistakenly destroys. And so Mushu's like, I got bigger balls to fry. I can do this myself, you old bammers. And with Mulan's lucky cricket, they go off to get Mulan. Meanwhile, Suge Knight and the Sugarlicious crew, Shan Yu and the Huns, make their way up in China, and they see 2 of them Chinese scouts. And they send one back to the emperor and let them know that they are up in this hizzy hizzle for she's-knack. While Mulan's doing some man practice before she gets to the camp, Mushu gets there and introduces himself. But he doesn't really do much of nothing but get our girl Mulan in trouble with the actual Jiggamoojus of the camp. Up inside one of them extravagant-ass tents, a soldier named Shan gets promoted to captain by his father, the general, who gives him 3 weeks to train the wild troops. And after that, he goes out to play fiddlesticks with Shan Yu and the Huns. Shan then gets all up in Mulan's personal space, and she tells him that her name is Peng to avoid suspicion. So with that danger cunningly avoided, Shan takes off his shirt, as per usual, and then begins the rigorous training while keeping a heavy eye on Mulan. But in the end, she exceeds her own limitations and also the limits of all the men at the camp. And in the next scene, Disney uses every creative way to censor her penis while Mulan is trying to wash up, and eventually Ping doesn't want to see anybody else's Ping and gets out of that hot dog water. Meanwhile, Mushu overhears the advisor talking to Shan about not sending the troops after all. And Mushu's like, not today, chopstick face, and with the lucky cricket, he creates a fake notice from the emperor and sends the new trainees out into the battle. But when the troops get out into the field, they find a town destroyed by Shan Yu that housed not only the main troops, but Shan's father. And on the way, they get Rizumagad by the Huns. But Mulan thinks quick and shoots a cannon at the mountains, creating an avalanche, wiping out all the Huns and almost themselves. But in the process, Mulan single-handedly saves China and her love interest. But before, she was injured, which finally gives her gender away. And all of a sudden, because she's a woman, now they got a problem with her, and now she has to be executed by the law. But instead, Shan takes a life for her life and spares her, leaving Mulan, who has just single-handedly saved the whole damn nation, to fend for herself in the elements. Out of all the Disney women, Mulan definitely has it all the way up the booty. And later that night, like some Pop-Tarts, Shan Yu and the gang pop out of the snow and continue their way to China with Mulan observing it all. So Mulan goes into China to warn the others, but they won't listen to her now that she's a woman. Now ain't that a peanut butter bologna sandwich on a Sunday afternoon? And while the emperor is about to address the crowd, the Huns take the emperor away into the palace. And Mulan jumps into action. And using the techniques learned from Mulan, the Chinese break into the palace, save the emperor, and Mulan personally blows up Shan Yu. And with everything settled and all of Mulan's story out there, the emperor himself bows to Mulan, showing true respect for what she has done for China, single-handedly. And Mulan denies a job offer from the emperor himself and goes home with a shiny-ass medallion and Shan Yu's sword, but not without a hug. And also some awkward words from Li Shang. Back at Mulan's home, her father expresses the true honor is having her as his daughter, and also that she has finally brought a man back home. And so Mulan and Mushu rejoice, knowing that they will never let anyone tear them down by telling them what their true limits are or what their true potential is. The end.